Okay, today we come to our third chapter, the third chapter, literature review and research gap analysis, using digital tools for modern scholarships. The last session we've learned how to identify and define problems, writing research questions, and hypothesis types and testing. For example, we learn how to find a problem from observation in our maybe place of work, in our environment, society around us, from observation, from literature review, from some scientific journal papers. We have literature review, and we also learn how to scope the problems with the five W's, which are who, what, where, when, and why. That are the question we have to answer in our problem statements. Also, we learn to write research questions as descriptive, relational, or causal questions. We noted that research questions are linked directly to the type of research we are going to undertake. And at the end, we have learned how to formulate hypotheses. We have two types of hypotheses, which are null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. And before formulating hypothesis, we have to identify the variables. We have to identify what are my variables, which variables is independent variable, which variable is a dependent variable. Now, for today, we'll define the purpose of a literature review. Since the questions and hypothesis where we just learned from the previous chapter, those are just preliminary questions and hypotheses. We have to find out whether those questions or hypotheses were already solved or already answered in the literature or past studies. That's why we have to do a literature review to find that. Now we have to define the purpose of a literature review and research gap, classify the types of scholarly literature and their inherent value, implement fourth pass method for rigorous, efficient reading and note taking, master digital tools for searching like Scopus or maybe Google Scholar, and managing, for example, Zotero. And finally, identify and classify different types of research gaps like evidence, methodological, theoretical. First, what is literature review? Literature review foundation, not summary. First, literature review is a comprehensive survey of previously published work on a specific topic, which includes summarizing, synthesizing, and critically evaluating the existing research. That means that it means that if you want to conduct a literature review, first thing you have to define what's your topic, and find at least some publication about that topic, summarize them, synthesize them, and evaluate those papers. Secondly, literature review is an argument that demonstrates your knowledge, positions your work, and justifies the need for your study. That's why literature review is both a process and a product. Why a process? A process because you are conducting it in the process or before, let's say before your real research or before going to experimentation, yes, or before the methodology design. And then at the end of your work, you are writing it down. The literature review, there's a part for literature review in the introduction when you are writing a report or when you are writing a journal, scientific journal paper. That is there it will be the product, the final output. While before your research, it's just a process inside your research. Okay. Now the purpose of literature review. First, literature review provide the context. It maps the terrain, show the state of the art, and provide the background needed to understand your research problem. Sometimes you may be new to a research domain, and it's literature review that will give you the information about that topic or about that domain. That is providing the concept. Second purpose of literature review is to identify the conversation. Identify, for example, the key authors who are publishing or who are the key authors on that topic. Who are maybe the best author on that topic. Who is working on it? What laboratories are working on that topic? That topic, or let me say, which country is working on it, is focused on that topic. That's to identify the conversation. Who agrees with whom? What are the main schools of thought? Thirdly is to justify your own research. Critically analyze the existing work to pinpoint the unanswered question or unsolved problem. That's what we call the research gap. Means that to justify your own research, you have to show from the literature review that this research questions was never answered before. That's why I am taking this research journey, or that is why I want to respond to this research question. Now, the types of scholarly literature. We have four main types. We have the primary research article, sometimes it is also called original contribution or original research article. That reports original empirical data collected and analyzed by the authors. It follows the IMRAET structure. This is your core evidence. This is the core evidence. The second type of papers are review articles. Review articles methodically and synthesize all the previous search on the focus topic to answer a specific question. The third type is theoretical or conceptual paper. And the fourth type is conference, proceeding, and report. Conference, most of the time, conference proceeding is to publish or communicate about the preliminary findings and work in progress. Yes. Okay. The primary research article or original research articles, they follow is article that follow the IMHAT standing, which stand for introduction. I for introduction. In the introduction, we have to analyze to establish the problem, the why of that problem, review immediate literature, and state the research question in the introduction, followed by the methodology part, the results, and the discussion. Almost all original contribution include this part: introduction, methodology, result, and discussion. That's not the case, for example, for review articles. Review articles do not have, sometimes they don't have that part of result. We can have discussion, or the result is not something that was conducted. It's not some kind of experiment that was conducted. The result may be just a result of analysis or meta-analysis. Now, in review articles, we have different types of review articles. The first type is narrative review, which is a traditional, unstructured review that provides a broad summary and identifies key trends in the literature. It is often descriptive and flexible, but can be prone to bias. Now, second type, and the most common type of literature review, is systematic literature or systematic review. That is a more rigorous approach that uses a structured and transparent methodology to synthesize research. It is often used to assess the effectiveness of interventions and aim to minimize bias. That is also the most common type of review. We have meta-analysis, which is a quantitative type of systematic review that statistically combines the results of multiple studies to provide more precise conclusions and greater statistical power. So sometimes those meta-analysis, we can see them as a comparative study. It's a kind of comparative studies. And we have a scoping review, which is used to explore the breadth of existing research, identify gaps, and map out key concepts. It does not typically involve a critical quality assessment of the studies. Here is just the scoping review is just it's a broad review, just to gather an informations around topics. Okay, the modern literature review process. We have five steps. We have 5 steps to conduct a literature review. The first step is to plan. The plan. The second, search. The third step, manage, organize our findings. The fourth step, synthesize. And the fifth step is to write. It is at that step that we have to identify the gap. Let's look deeper at the first step. Step 1, plan, keywords and Boolean logic. First, before conducting a literature review, we have to find our keywords. We have to find our keywords and join them using Boolean logic, or I can say logic operators. We have 3 logic operators, which are and, we have and, or, and not. That are the 3 operators that we use to combine the keywords. So we start with your core concepts. We start with the core concepts. Find synonyms and related terms, then combine them using Boolean operators to command the database. We see, for example, here coffee and health. Health or wellness. Coffee or decaf. Okay, here we are looking at the diagrams. Here, for example, we have let's say this is a keyword P, Q, and R are keywords. To combine them and to find the literature that includes all the 3 keywords, we have to use and. That's why you're seeing here we have P and Q and R. It is a space in black here. P and Q and R. So that's why the Boolean logic and narrows the results. If the study has only the P keyword, it won't show in the result. Only Q keywords, it won't show. Only R keywords, also it won't show in the output. Only research that have combined the 3 keywords will show out in the result of that search. Here, for example, we have P, not P. That's why you are seeing here, not P. We have R and Q, not P. So this keyword is excluded from the result. The P keyword here is excluded from the result. If you don't want the keyword to appear in your result, you just use not. That keyword won't appear in your result. For that, here is the example in diagram B. the P here will not appear in the result. Here, for example, here the third example, we have R completely, we have Q. This is Q or R, Q or R, Q or R only. Also here is the same, we have P and Q, not R. That is why everything here, everything that includes R will be excluded. Okay, that is how we combine our keywords. Now, in searching and planning, we also use quotes. Quotes search for an exact phrase. For example, if you put mental health inside quotes, it will search for this these keywords exactly. We also use the asterisk. The asterisk is a white card for truncation. For example, if you search this manage and you add an asterisk at the end, you will find manage, you will find management, you will find managing. All keywords that we can refer to manage will show up in the result. Now, the second step, once we have defined our keywords and we have defined how we join those keywords, we have to search. And to search, we can use some digital tools. Before the advent of the internet, we're using libraries, and we're going to maybe the libraries and look for physical books. But nowadays that practice is no more. Now we have digital tools, we have digital libraries online. And some example of those libraries, we have Scopus, which is essential. We have Web of Science. We have Google Scholar. We even have PubMed also. Scopus, for example, is a comprehensive abstract and citation database, excellent for tracking citations, finding impactful papers, and robust systematic searching. Web of Science is also very similar to Scopus. And we have also Google Scholar. Okay. The third step, manage. Once you have started to search, you will find some interesting papers. You have to manage them directly. Don't wait till the end of your research before starting to gather your let's say your references or your citations, or before building your bibliography. You start it right from the first day of your research or your literature review. And to do that, we are using reference managers like EndNotes, Mendeley, Zotero. For this course, we will be using Zotero. Zotero help to centralize our library, our papers. The key capabilities: we can store, tag, organize all our PDFs and associated notes. We have also automated word processor integration for seamless citation insertion, automatically format citations and bibliographies in any style. That is what we are using in academia. We are using Zotero. Okay, you have defined the keywords. You know where to search for article, paper, and publication. Now you have downloaded your paper and you have used a reference manager to track and to store your reference. Now that you want to read the paper, what are the methods? What can you do to read it efficiently? Okay, you have the first thing is to set the reading goals. The reading goals. In the introduction, you should ask yourself why this research or why this paper. That's the context. So when you are reading the introduction, you should ask yourself why. Why the researcher have done or published this paper or have conducted this research. That's the goal here is to understand the context, the justification, the specific gap that the paper claims to fill. What's the research questions? Secondly is how. That's the method part. When you are reading the method, you are trying to ask yourself how they conducted that research. The goal here is to assess the rigor and replicability of that research. Is the method appropriate to answer the question? What are its flaws? Now you go to the result. The result is what? Here the goal is to identify the core findings. The core findings link to the research question. What are the core findings of this paper? Do the presented results, the data, actually support the paper's claims? That is discussion. Here the discussion here is to extract the contribution. First, the contribution. Secondly, the limitations as stated by the author. And when we talk about limitations, that its limitation, the limitation of that research become our own research gap. Those limitations, we can use those limitations to conduct our own research or to start our own research. Okay, now methodic reading, the 4-pass strategy. To move from reading to critiquing, apply the structured 4-pass method, allocating minimal time for maximum extraction. This means that when you download a paper, don't read it from the introduction to the conclusion first. We don't do that. We don't read it like that for the first reading or the first time, or we don't do it directly like that. We have the first pass. That's the survey pass. Here, in the first pass, you have to get the big picture. You read what? You read the title. You read the abstract. You read the introduction, and you read the section headings and the conclusion. Sometimes you can even start with the abstract. If that paper is not interesting for you, or do not have some what you are looking for, you just put it aside and you take the next paper. So don't read the entire paper at once. Start by the title. Sometimes even the title can say can give you a lot of information, and you can take decision from the title, whether you will read the entire paper or not, or the abstract, the introduction, the section headings and conclusion. Okay. If the survey if the paper passes the first steps, now you go to the second step, that is comprehension pass. Here you want to understand the paper. Now, here is to grasp the paper's argument. Here you have to read the entire paper quickly. You have to take note of the key terminologies, scheme figures, and tables. Since figures and tables are the main results. The third step is synthesis pass. Here the goal is a deep understanding and note taking. Here the attempt is to mentally reconstruct the paper, identify the strengths or weaknesses and assumptions of that paper. You have to take note. What are the strengths, weaknesses, or strengths or weaknesses of the paper, or the main finding of the paper? You take it down. You write them down. The fourth step is review and connection pass. Here the goal is to integrate into our own work. We have to compare the findings with other literature. We record how this paper informs our gap. Okay. For note taking, yes, note taking framework. You can use Zotero to store a structured summary. That's one of the tools. That we use. Zotero to store a 3-sentence summary. The first sentence for the problem, the second sentence for the method, and the third sentence for key finding. Your own critique. What are the limitations? That's the critique. The limitations, the flaws, or unanswered questions. Now the connection to gap. How does this paper contribute to or narrow your specific research gap. And also you can keep the keywords. Yes, you can keep the keywords for later retrieval and synthesis. So that is what you have to note down. Summary, your critique, connection to gap, and keywords. You can use Zotero for that, but you can also use Excel for it to do that. You can use Excel to do that. Yes, for example, note taking is what we call note taking matrix. Note taking matrix with some columns, the authors and years, the research question. You can even add here, instead of just author, you can hide the title of the research question, the methodology, the key finding, the critique or limitations, and relevance to your gap. You can organize it in an Excel file. Okay, now let's move to step 4. Synthesize, join the conversation. Here you have to synthesize your findings. You have to synthesize them. And here the job is the job is to identify the major theme, the tables, show who agrees, show who agrees, highlight who disagrees, point out what's missing. That is the job here at step 4. And to do that, you use your file. Okay, for the synthesis, to identify the framework, sometimes we have thematic, which is most common. You can organize the review around recurring themes, concepts, and debates. For example, section 1, the whole of social media, section 2, the whole of peer influence. You can organize them like that. That is thematic. That's how to synthesize with the theme. Methodological. Yes, to group studies based on the research methods they used. For example, they use quantitative or qualitative or mixed method. You group them based on that. And sometimes we have also chronological, where we organize by date to show the evolution of the topic over time. Here it's just good to demonstrate how the conversation has changed, matured, or shifted focus. So there are the 3 approaches we have to synthesize our reviews, our literature. Now, finding the gap, the so what, the purpose of our literature. A research gap is an unanswered question, an unexplored area, or a problem in the existing body of knowledge. It is a space where you can make an original contribution. Means that without a gap, without a research gap, you cannot have an original contribution. And when you start maybe to write scientific journal, the reviewers or journals editors, that is what they will try to find in your paper or in your research or in your article. What is your contribution? What's your main contribution? Is your contribution an original one? That's why finding the gap is very important. We have three categories of gap. The first is evidence gap, what we don't know. For example, here, no empirical studies exist on the specific topic, population or context. For example, studying X in country Y, which hasn't been done. We have a study that was conducted maybe in United States, and now you want to conduct the same study in Cameroon. That is a gap. You may have different results from those you may have different results from those that conducted their research in US or maybe in Europe or Asia, based maybe on your data, on the data that you collected. That is what we call evidence gap. In evidence gap, you have to gather a data. The second type of gap is methodological gap. Yes, how we study it. Existing studies have limitation. For example, only qualitative interviews needs a quantitative survey that a new rigorous study could fix. Also, methodological gap is when you are reading experimental studies, maybe a new vaccine have some kind of limitation, and now you want to invent your own vaccine. That is a methodological gap. Maybe your own protocol or your own method will be different from the one of the literature. That is a methodological gap. And in methodological gap means that you will conduct experimental research. The third type here is theoretical gap. Why it happens? Here a phenomenon is observed, but the available theory is insufficient to explain why it occurs. The study here is to propose a new framework or to propose theories about that phenomenon. Okay, now you have to differentiate between the gap and the niche. What is a gap? The gap is a problem in the existing literature. It's a flaw, it's an omission or contradiction, a limitation, is the why of your research. The gap is the why, the justification of your own research. But now the niche, for example, the niche here is the space, is the space, the space of your specific study, the space that the study will occupy to address that gap. The niche is what and how of your research. Let's look at this example. We have a gap here. All studies on this topic have only used male subjects. That is methodological or evidence gap. Now the niche here is, therefore my study will be the first to investigate this phenomenon in a female population. Is your contribution, and that is what we call here the niche. The niche. Okay. Now we are looking at some advanced tools, AI, for example, AI tools to help in literature, in conducting a literature review. The first here is illicit.org. Illicit.org is a website. It's a website and a research assistant powered by artificial intelligence. And it's best for answering a question with a broad literature search. We have also connected papers, which creates a visual graph of a paper's ancestors and also of descendants. That is excellent for finding the foundational work and the most recent responses. From other tools, we have SciSpace, formerly typeset.io. Here in this site, in this website, you can chat with your PDF. You can chat with your PDF. Example of one, what was the sample size for this study? You can ask some questions about your PDF. You can upload your PDF and now start asking questions about that research. We also have Gemini, also Perplexity, that we can use maybe to summarize or to let's say to read and summarize a paper. Okay. AI questions and ethics. So you have to pay very close attention whenever you are using those AI tools. Why? Because AIs they are just probabilistic models. They can commit errors. Yes, they can commit errors. So the first thing you have to verify. Don't trust. We have what we call AI as hallucination. Hallucination is when AI is inventing something that does not exist. He can invent a literature, he can invent a paper and give you the reference, and you will just copy it and paste it in your in your report, thinking that the is a true paper, while it is not. So the first thing, you have to verify all the informations given by the AI tools. We are also data and IP privacy. Yes, do not upload unpublished manuscripts, sensitive data, or proprietary information to public AI tools, because they are whenever you are uploading something, they will use it to enhance their models, to train those models. They are using the data from from the users. So if you are some unpublished manuscript, don't upload it, or you may upload it and the next day you find that your paper was already published some elsewhere. Okay, we are also a copilot, not an autopilot. So means that you have to use AI just for brainstorming, summarizing, and overcoming writer's block, not giving the research job to the AI. It's you, the researcher. So you are responsible for the final analysis and argument, not the AI. Okay. Yes.
So please, can you go back to the last one?
The
I have a
last.
question regarding that.
Okay.
The
The
last slide, the
last.
one we just left.
Okay.
Mm, okay, when I look at all the advanced tools that we're supposed to use for literature
Yes.
review, and then we have this a lot of AI. Now, I don't
Yes.
know, with our research, is the AI using the AI not going to flag us? Or there's a particular percentage of AI that was also used and I don't know.
Um. Normally, the AI is difficult nowadays. Today is very difficult to identify something generated by AI. It's becoming very difficult.
Mm.
So it's just your own decision. Yes, just your own decision. It's difficult to identify whether a content is generated by AI or not.
Okay, that's my first question. Then now, second question, when you say verify, don't trust, let me take for example that type a topic,
Yes,
uh, maybe on what do they call this tool? Not ChatGPT, there's another one, DeepSeek. Let's say DeepSeek,
yes.
for instance, and then it generates an information on DeepSeek. Now
Mm-hmm.
it quotes authors and the rest. So what you advise from this first point is that if you quote an author and everything, we should go to Google, search it,
Yes.
or to Zotero
Go to
and search.
Google. No. Zotero is just to manage. I will show you. I will show you how to
Okay.
do it. Yes. Now I'll show you how to do it. Don't trust them.
So if it gives me, okay.
If it
So if
gives
it
you
gives me
a
an author, I should
reference,
go to Google and search it, make sure that it
yes,
is there
yes.
before I copy and
Make
paste.
sure, yes. Don't
Mm,
copy it. I've tried to work with ChatGPT. The guy gave me some terrible and non-existent references.
papers.
Yes, he organized
Okay.
them. He even had findings. But when I went to search those papers on Google, I didn't find the papers. Never trust them. But for some AI tools that I recommend you to use, for example, Perplexity. Perplexity is just like Google. You can use it. Perplexity.
Okay.
Yes, Perplexity. Okay, let's
All
say
right. Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Good practices. Good practices when conducting a literature review. Let me just change this. Okay, the first good practice is to organize your research inside in folders. Yes. For example, here I've started this for master degree, organizing every single research that even research idea. Whenever I have a research idea, I create a new folder a new folder for that research idea. That's the first thing. Organize it like this in research. Some research here are already published, some not yet. But if I want, for example, like if I want to continue those research, I will just come look for the folder and I will find my files. Here, for example, for creating activation function neurons, I have here, I have the papers are here, the code are here, everything. If I want to continue this research, I can continue it easily. That's the third good practice. Second, install install Zotero. To install before starting the literature review, install Zotero. You just go here to Zotero, download. Yes. To install Zotero, you have first to install the application. Secondly, you have to install the connector. Here is for to install the application. You go here to Google, you type Zotero, download. Okay. 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 Here's the application. You install it, and here is the connector. Also install the connector. The connector. You have it to install it. The connector in your browser. You install it in your browser. Okay. That will help you. For example, I've already installed Zotero here. I'm opening Zotero. You can even organize Zotero in in files or folders. Yes, in folders. You can organize them in folders. Now I've opened Zotero. I've installed the Edge connector. And if, for example, I go to a website, let's say Google, I'm working, for example, on cardiovascular diseases, and I start like this: cardiovascular diseases prediction using AI. It's just an example. Okay, this is an AI overview. Here, for example, we have a journal, an article. Here's I can just let's go to that website. Okay, see here, for example, I have the opportunity, since I've installed the connector, I have the opportunity or the access here with the connector. I can save, I can save this. Okay, you have you have noticed the icon has changed. Yeah, the icon has changed. I can save this file to Zotero. I can save it to Zotero directly. Okay, here's a file here: Artificial Intelligence in Cardiovascular Diseases, Diagnostic and Therapeutic Perspectives. Now, if I come here, now I save it. I have many folders. I can create another folder. I want to create another folder here in Zotero for the new. Okay, I will create a new folder, a new collection. Okay, I will call it CVDS prediction AI. Okay, so I want to conduct a literature review on prediction of cardiovascular diseases using artificial intelligence. I've created it. Now I will add this into Zotero. Okay, this is the folder CVDS prediction AI. I just select it. I select it and done. Okay, directly in Zotero, this paper will appear. This is the paper here. Artificial Intelligence, Cardiovascular Diseases, Diagnostic and Therapeutic Perspective. The author. We have the informations here, the abstracts. So Zotero have captured the abstract, the publication, the volume, the issue, the pages, the date, the DOI, almost all the information about that paper. That is how we are doing to keep our references, to store them. Okay, now let's go back to and open Google Scholar. Here I can directly go to Google Scholar, scholarly articles for cardiovascular diseases, prediction, and UI using AI. This will redirect me to Google Scholar. Okay. I'm in Google Scholar. You can sort the result by relevance or by date, but most of the time it's good to sort it by relevance. By relevance. Now I can choose either to download it or to read it or to read the abstract first before downloading it. This is the first website for literature review. You can even use Google. Now, Perplexity. Let's use Perplexity is here. Perplexity, I can just say find scientific paper on the topic okay. Okay, we have the result here. Okay, it's not completed. Okay, here are the results. He found five five paper. In Zotero, for example, I can just come here in the sources. Directly I will have access to the papers directly. I have access to them. I have even here hybrid framework for heart disease prediction. That's Nature. Artificial intelligence based framework for early detection. I can have access. I just clicked on the first one. Okay. I'm redirected to the journal homepage. That's why I'm advising you to use Perplexity. Perplexity always gives real sources. The results of Perplexity are based on real sources collected from websites. Okay, it's opening. Now we have intelligent cardiovascular disease diagnosis using deep learning enhanced neural network with hand colony optimization. If you pay attention here, this icon will change. This icon will change once the page will be fully loaded. Okay, it's taking time. In fact, too long time. I just close it. Okay, that's the second tools, perplexity. Also, sometimes you can try to access a research article, and that's maybe that paper is not accessible, or you have to pay something, you have to pay some fees to access it. You have some alternative. You can ask or request for that paper on ResearchGate. You can ask for it on ResearchGate, and the authors of that paper uh, may send respond to your request by sending you a copy of that paper. Okay, now another AI powered tools, connected papers. We have connected papers. You can search by keywords, paper title, DOI, or another identifier. I have my own keywords. I said that my keywords are cardiovascular diseases, prediction, and AI. And then we build a graph. Okay. I have a paper here. I have chose paper to build. Again, I will choose the first one. Okay. This connected paper shows the link between a paper and let's say an author and other published paper or authors. For example, here's the main paper. We have the connection to another paper here. We have a connection here to show how the author, the citation. We have an historic of the citation, and you can also go to those. You can access those papers. Okay. Means that you can find, for example, here, this author, Subramani, he cited this author here. We can say that this was the base, or one of the first publication. Instead of reading this one, we can choose to read this one here, this paper here. So connected paper is just giving you an overview of the different connection between papers based on the citations. Okay, we have also illicit that I recommend also. Illicit. You can try illicit. but it's not free, but you can try it. Illicit, there's a free plan. There's a free plan and also paid plan, but we can try this. These are the solutions. We have report, systematic literature review. That's what we are looking for. Systematic literature review. Now you have to try it. Okay, it's taking long. Okay, it's taking too long. Just go to the next tool or next website. The next website, which is PubMed Central, PMC. Here you can connect your keywords with logical operators. For example, here I've connected mobile and deep learning models and cardiovascular diseases. I have the result here. More than 10,000 results from 1929 to 2025. I can reduce it. Maybe sometime we are looking for papers starting from, if for example now we are in 2025, we will start with papers that came out in 2020. Yes, in 2020. 5 to 10 years before the current year. That is for an entire overview. Okay, you see here 5 years or 10 years. You can just select one of them, 5 to 10 years. Let's just select 10 years. Okay, and here in PMC you can export or save the results. You can save the result in CVS format. I can save it. Result selection. all the results. Okay, I choose the format. I will choose CSV. Now we create the file. Okay, here's the file here. Okay, here is the file. It says the PM ID, the title, authors, citation, the first author, the journal, publication year, create date, the DOI, and now you can maybe add the main findings. You can add the gaps. You can add your own notes on it. So that's one of the possibility offered by PMC. Okay. Also, all those publicating houses like Nature, for example, Springer, Elsevier, you can search in their websites. For example, I can just come here and search here. Search articles by subject, keywords, or author. I can go to Springer or Elsevier and search and look for articles there. Okay. I think that we'll stop here for today.